another episode of Sit and Spin with me, your host, Joe Royland. Last week on the show, I was talking about how I was finally going to be cycling around to talking about some artists I've covered on the show before, since I've been doing the show for 3 years now. And looking back at all the episodes, there is nobody that I've probably covered more on the show than today's featured artist. In some way, shape, or form, we have talked about him and bands and projects he's worked with in 4 prior episodes on the show. Episode 63, 36, 27, and 16.4 all featured this artist. And now, with today's coverage, this will be 5 times on the show that we've covered him. And that, of course, would be Brian Fallon and his new album, Painkillers. Of course, the singer, songwriter, and guitarist is best known as the frontman for New Jersey rockers, the Gaslight, Anthem. And since it was talking about Jersey, I thought it would be only appropriate to wear a shirt with these jokers are from, and they also hail from the same hometown as Brian Fallon, Red Bank, New Jersey. Of course, while this may be Brian Fallon's first official solo outing, it's not the first time he stepped outside of the confines of the Gaslight Anthem. There was, of course, Horrible Crows, we covered back in episode 27, and he's also done side projects like Molly and the Zombies, which never made a record, probably aren't going to put a record out, but they do shows live and stuff. And while this may be an official solo record and solo outing by Fallon, there are some familiar faces that show up on here. His Gaslight Anthem bandmate Alex Rosamilla shows up to play piano on a track, and Catherine Popper, who's the bass player for Molly and the Zombies, plays bass on most of this album. Painkillers was produced by noted Butch Walker, great musician in his own right, previously been in the band South Gang and Marvelous 3, and has done a number of solo albums and produced records from a lot of other people, as well as contributing songwriting skills to them. Does here as well. He lends his talents songwriting-wise to 3 of the album's tracks, the title track Painkiller, Nobody Wins, which we'll get to in a minute, and Mojo Hand, as well as contributing quite a bit of the musical backup proceedings to this record. Painkillers, unlike the Gaslight Anthem, where they may be a little bit more high energy and heaviness that you'd find on those records, is definitely more of a commercial sounding record for Fallon. And it really does feel like this is the album that he is trying to break through to as many of the masses with as he possibly can. He actually started working on it before Gaslight's album Get Hurt, which we covered on episode 63 of the show, but didn't finish it up until the band went on hiatus officially last year, 2015. But all that said, even though it has more of a commercial scene to it, song for song, this is some of Fallon's most consistently pleasing collection of tunes all in all. There's really not a bad song to be found on this record. From the album's first single and the album's opening cut, A Wonderful Life, which was released way back in January ahead of the album. A lot of great songs to be found in this album. I also like the breezy Among Others Foolish Things, the hand-clapping stomp of Smoke, the acoustic ballad Steve McQueen, which features a co-write from Dan Wilson, who we also mentioned in last week's episode on Not a Surf, and from the band Semisonic. And probably my favorite standout track on the whole album is the song Nobody Wins, which, as I said earlier, was co-written by Butch Walker and features, at least in name, a little check to Fallon's teenage friend Tommy Gun Duhamel of the band Communication Red Light, where he mentions the song Tommy Gun, although the song is actually about a girl, but just a nice little name reference in there. If you know that, you knew that. Other great tracks on the album, Rosemary, which is another standout. It's the kind of song that would have made friend and fellow New Jersey native Bruce Springsteen jealous. I also like the country-tinged Red Lights and Honey Magnolia, another great song on it. But really, you can't go wrong with any track on this album. A great collection of songs from Brian Fallon, Painkillers. It's out now, go out and get it. And I'm just noticing, looking at the cover of this album, this is the 3rd light blue covered album I've covered in a row. Not a Surf, light blue, and Cheap Trick, also light blue as well. But a great album. It's out on CD and vinyl. If you get the vinyl like I did, it also comes with a free MP download card. And while it says MP3 on here, it's actually WAV files, which is kind of nice, better quality. But go out and get it now. Painkillers, the new album from Brian Fallon. You won't be disappointed in it at all if you're a Gaslight fan. I think you're really going to dig it. If you checked out Horrible Crows and you like that, you're really going to dig it. And if you just want some really great songs from a great songwriter and singer, Brian Fallon's Painkillers album you should check out now. That is it for the show. Quick one today, and we will catch you next time on Sit and Spin. Hopefully you're checking out all the great podcasts that I also post links to, as well as our friends over at Righteous Vinyl and the riff of the day. And we will catch you next time on Sit and Spin. See you then.